Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom Into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
All right, excited. We got some wine in the glass. Cheers, everybody. I want to thank you for joining our evening.
That's cool.
Yes. We got a lot to talk about tonight, and we're going to cover a lot of ground. Chef, why don't you say hello to your friends? I know you got a lot of friends on the Zoom tonight. Thank you for getting your friends involved. And,
hello everyone. Hello Lisa. Tanya, salut Tanya. How are you? How was the food? Good?
Just getting started.
Ate the dessert first.
Chef, can you give everyone a little background about your amazing past and how you got into food?
We have time. It's a long story.
A quick version.
Quick version. So I work for for some people who don't know me, I worked for 10 years in a 3-star Michelin, 3-star Michelin in France, with Robuchon, Taïwan, Marc Vera, Michel Rostand, and I was a chef in a 2-star Michelin when I was 29 years old at Le Domaine des Templiers in the Loiret, Centre area. And after that, I moved to New York just after the 11th September. So it was not very lucky to arrive in New York when the business was done. And I moved to Los Angeles, where I was a chef at l'Orangerie for like a year and a half. And I decided to open my restaurant, Ortolan. And Ortolan was the best new chef in America, best new restaurant in America, and also after we have a 1-star, one Michelin star. And I closed at the end of 2010, 2011. And after that, I do some private events, private chef, private dinner, and I'm still doing private dinner now. I opened CAS with a partner for like 6 months. I left after 6 months because the problem with partner is always the same things. He decided to go another way, and they don't want to do it. So now I'm again to do a private dinner.
Very good. Very good. Well, I think your house makes a pretty good drive-through, chef. Apparently, everyone is required to have a Tesla to be on this call tonight as well. I noticed a thing happening, but it was kind of cool. We had a series of Teslas queued for pickup. Even the Uber driver came and picked up in a Tesla. So, but I'm glad everybody's here. We've got a big night. I have had the great pleasure of working for Louis Jadot in the past, and I've sold the wine for a long time. When I started in wine sales, I worked for the big companies, and Jadot was part of the portfolio, so I got to know the book very well, and I became the Jadot ambassador for the West Coast. I really love the company. I love the family. I love the company that owns Jadot, which a lot of people don't know. It's three American daughters, actually, of Rudy Koff that live in New Jersey. They started investing in Louis Jadot many years ago, and they're now the owners of one of the most iconic French brands. And to say they've continued to elevate Louis Jadot is an understatement. They've provided it with one of the greatest winemaking facilities, which we'll see. They have continued to invest in the land holdings and vineyards and winemaking facilities. And Jadot has been for many, many years now the #1 most imported French wine brand into America. Now they do make a number of different SKUs, but as I worked for Louis Jadot, and my job was really to sell the wine to the top restaurants, as is Rachel, who's on the Zoom tonight. She is the Jadot ambassador now, and of course now we don't have many restaurants to sell Great Burgundy to, so we're getting very creative. And we figuring it out one step at a time, what to do next. But sharing the great wines and the great knowledge and the great food, chef. So we want to thank you for being on the Zoom.
And, happy to be here.
Why don't we start, chef, with a little discussion over the first course, so we can get right into the white wine, and then I'll get into some of the other content.
So the first one is mushroom soup. Everybody have it?
Okay.
Mushroom soup warm up, it needs to be hot, and it's just shallots, mushroom from the Paris mushroom, the white mushroom, and we cook that I cook it for a long time, and water, cream, and thyme, garlic, and just cook it for like 2 or 3 hours very slowly, and after you mix it, and you have your soup, But the idea is to very cook for a long time before to mix it.
Okay. And we went with Chassagne Montrachet, our white wine, to pair with our mushroom soup. And I think it's a great way. Rachel, how are you doing?
Great. How's everyone doing?
All right. If Rachel looks familiar, she was a sommelier on the floor at SLS, at the famous restaurant there.
Yeah.
And comes to us now as the Jadot ambassador. So I'm very thankful for all your efforts, Rachel. You really did a lot of things to help make this happen tonight. Oh, I lost you, Rachel. Somehow you muted. Sorry. There you go. Say that again, Rachel.
I'm just so happy we can get together over food and wine and meet digitally, and safely.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, Chef, we're going to be talking about Louis Jadot tonight at an extensive level. And while you're enjoying your first course, I'd like to just introduce you. Has anybody been to Beaune in Burgundy? Ever been to France and into Beaune in particular?
I just passed to Beaune. I just passed it, but I never stopped. We stopped to the vineyard.
What part of France were you raised, and where were you? Where did you work in France?
I'm from Loire-Vallée area near to Saumur, between Saumur and Angers.
Okay.
And I was there until like 16.
Ah, fantastic.
And it was a very good wine. I remember when I was kids, we were going to buy some Bonzo. I remember Bonzo, the wine.
Bonzo, yeah.
It's lovely wine. And so I'm from there. And after I do my apprenticeship in Angers for two years. And after this, I moved to London for like 2 years, 18 to 20. And after this, I start for, like I said before, for 10 years working a 3-star Michelin and 2-star Michelin.
Fantastic. I love my visits to the Loire Valley too. We had Houet on the Zoom not too long ago.
Nice.
And we've been traveling all over the world with Zoom and different winemaker appearances, etc. Tonight we're going to be with Louis Jadot, and I will tell you, we spent a good hour and a half with a winemaker at Louis Jadot last week, and on going in to edit the video that we produced with him, we had kind of a cosmic disaster. So the video with the winemaker was uneditable and unretrievable, actually. So we had all kinds of people working on it. So last night, the gentleman who runs Louis Jadot in New York got on the video with us, and we kind of touched some efforts together. And so it was truly a 2020 Zoom experience last week with our time with the winemaker. But I'm going to share with you as much as we can and answer as many questions as we can. But I want to start us off with a little history of Louis Jadot and break it in with the gentleman who I reported to, Pierre-Henri Gaget. And I'll share this video first.
Louis Jadot actually starts quite a long time ago, in 1859, a little more than 150 years ago. And the guy who started it was Belgium. The family Jadot was from Belgium, and he was smart enough to get married with the daughter of vigneron in Burgundy. And when his father-in-law passed away, poof, he inherited a tiny little piece of vineyard, Beaune Premier Cru Clos des Ursules, and he started his wine company from that, from just 5 acres, 2.5 hectares of vineyard in Beaune. And instead of coming back to Belgium, he said, okay, I'm going to live in Burgundy, and I am going to sell my wine to Belgium. And that's the way Maison Louis Jadot started. So it was very simple, with an idea that was only Burgundy wine, and only wine that would be sold under one label, the Louis Jadot label, with the idea to try to express through the wine produced the originality of Burgundy, which is actually the soil of Burgundy. So Maison Jadot, step by step, grown from being a very small company. 3 generations of Jadot ran the company. Then my father get on board and run the company for 30 years, and I have been running it since 1992. So that means 5 guys in 160 years, something like that. It's good. It's good, you know, small company trying to express Burgundy first, and the human being second. It has always been our philosophy to say, to produce great Burgundy wine, you must emphasize the magic part of Burgundy, and the magic part, it's not you or me, but it is what God has given us, a tremendous harmony between the soil, the weather, and of course the variety of grape that has been planted here a long time ago.
Okay. So that is Pierre-Henri Gaget, and I got to work with him pretty closely at this stage in Jadot's development. It was actually just post acquisition, and the Gaget family was still in charge and in the helm, and his father, in fact, was still alive and still very active in the winery. I'm not actually sure if he is still alive, actually. Rachel, do you know?
Yeah, Pierre-Henri is alive and well and very happy. He's an amazing part of the experience of Louis Jadot.
Very, very good. And I sat in Pierre-Henri's cellar and drank the wine of his dad, his grandfather, in fact. He went down into the cellar and pulled up bottles that his grandfather put down there himself in 1914, some Moussigny, and we were the kind of the core team, and we were able to eat in his house. And it's just a quaint little place. This is Beaune. It's not filled with modern mansions or anything, but the home that he was raised in, and it's where he lives, and it's just a really, really beautiful little town. Beaune is one of my all-time favorite places to visit in the world. It is a simple train ride straight south from Paris down into Beaune. The first stop might be potentially in Dijon, but you end up in Beaune. You walk from the train station to some great restaurants. Beaune is actually the hip town of Burgundy. The rest of them are sleepy little towns where people live that farm, and they work in the vineyards. It's definitely a wine culture there. They may grow other things like vegetables and make cheese, and they have a wonderful little farmer's market in Beaune, and it's just a magical place. And so someday I hope I can call Beaune home a little bit, a part of the year at least. That would be a wonderful thing to achieve. That's been an all-time goal for me. So hopefully one day when I'm even older and fatter, I'll be found in Beaune. So we start off tonight with the Chassagne Montrachet 2018, and my glass just keeps getting empty. But this is a brand new 2018, just arrived. It's one of the great vintages that we're going to find in Burgundy. And we're very happy to be able to start off with this lovely wine. You're going to find most everyone that makes Burgundy is super excited about 18, because not only was it a high quality vintage, but it was a vintage of quantity as well. And so they were really able to shape some beautiful wines and deliver some really good value. I'm going to go now into a little slideshow, share that with you, and show you exactly what we're drinking. Just give me one moment. And I do encourage people to be very involved in our Zoom. Let me see. Everything just went dark. What happened? I see you there. There you are, Chef. Thank you. I thought everybody just went away, which has happened once as well, Chef. So let me see here. There we go. Okay. I'm going to share that screen there. All right, here we go. So this is what we're looking at, is the map of France. Obviously the Loire Valley here, where Chef is from, Burgundy here, Paris up in the northern part, Champagne even further north, got Bordeaux over here, all your rosé department down here, your Rhones down here. But Burgundy is quite a thin, long appellation. The orange part is known as the, well, it looks like it's all of Burgundy, but it is the Côte d'Or that gets most of the attention, and it captures most of the dollars, which is in the north here. And you've got the Côte de Beaune and the Côte de Nuit, and you can see that with better detail over here on this map. So there's the Côte de Nuit and the Côte de Beaune, and Puigny-Montrachet is right in here. And it's actually part of kind of a series of white wine villages, and Chassagne right here, and to the north is Meursault. Change slides. Again, the history since 1859. Now, prior to 1859, brands really didn't have much significance. The wines were made by a lot of the monasteries, and they were there to raise money for their towns, and they sold them. And the monks who ran these monasteries, they knew that certain spots in the vineyards were better than others, and they chronicled these spots since they started planting Burgundy back in about 1000, year 1000 to 1200, is when they started to really identify this as a wine or grape growing area, and the monks really started to cultivate it. It was Henry the Bold that really became a very formidable Duke of Burgundy era type of leader, and really brought Burgundy together as an organized wine growing area. But still, the wines were sold by the individual towns, and branding wasn't a thing until the 1800s or so. Significant dates with ownership inside of the Jadot family. André Gaget, 1954, and then his son Pierre-Henri Gaget, who took over. And there again is Pierre-Henri, who we met earlier. Now, when I was at Jadot, this winemaker, Jacques Lardier, one of the greatest winemakers on the planet and one of the most amazing men, but he's absolutely gifted in several ways. He's got incredible energy. He's also a double PhD, and he studied not only food science, but also was quite involved, I believe it was in philosophy or psychology. Do you remember, Rachel? No?
Yeah.
He was super connected to Steiner, Rudolf Steiner, and he really believed in energy. And he brought in his replacement as he retired after 40 vintages. Imagine working and growing Jadot for 40 years and then handing it over 10 years ago. in 2009 to Frederic Bagnier. And he is now known as technical director and runs this beautiful facility. And this is the gentleman that I spent a good amount of time talking to about the wine. Now, I have been to Jadot about 25 times. And every time I go, I learn so much and see so much. And this facility was built for making Burgundy. This is what it looks like at Louis Jadot. And Jacques Lardier really got to be involved in the production. And he believes the grapes are round, the earth is round, the winery should be round, and that there's circles of energy in the wine. The barrels are round. And look at the arrows on the floor pointing towards the center, where it's like a conductor at the very center. And they have this amazing facility, and many Pinot Noir producers, a la Costa Brown and others, have been inspired by this winemaking facility. It is an amphitheater of making great Burgundy in small lots. These are not large tanks, because everything comes in these small amounts from these special places, and they have to micromanage everything. Now, one of the wines we're going to make taste tonight, our next wine, in fact, is also from Chateau de Jacques, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But we have another winemaker at Chateau de Jacques, and I also got to spend time with Cyril, and we learned quite a bit about what he is doing in Beaujolais. And I'm going to share this slideshow with everyone, so you don't have to try to read it or suck it all up at one time. And if you feel like you missed something, you'll have it at the end of this Zoom. I'll even be sending out this recording with what we call our gift bag at the end of the night. Now, the wine that we're going to start off with is the 2018 Chassagne, and it is basically made by taking some of the greater spots in Chassagne and blending them together. It is the name of the village. It is named after the Grand Cru of Montrachet, and inside of Montrachet, or the city or the town, the village of Chassagne, there are many premier crus as well. And Jadot has little dotted vineyards everywhere. And to make this wine, which is the ambassador for the village, they would sacrifice the greater wines if they needed to, because they have to have a certain amount of this wine to represent the brand. And that's a really big thing to note. Here's a nice map of the difference between Chassagne and Puigny. And you can see that the Grand Cru is on the right, with called Montrachet in Puigny, but it's called Le Montrachet in Chassagne. And so it's one big contiguous plot, and a lot of people own very small pieces of it. I believe a hectare of Montrachet is worth in the neighborhood of $100 million. That is the number that I was given recently. $100 million for 1 hectare, 2.3 acres. And so therefore, buying additional vineyard there would absolutely be a long-term investment, because you'd never get your money back in any reasonable amount of time. So with that, I'm going to pop out and just take a look at everybody, make sure you're all good. And any questions about Puigny? I do have another little segment to just play for you for a quick moment with Kirk, the director of Louis Jadot. Rachel, is it Kirk or Kurt?
Kurt.
Kurt.
Yes.
What's his last name?
Eckert. Kurt Eckert.
Kurt Eckert.
Yes.
Very nice man. Didn't get to work with him in my time there, but he is absolutely a stud for coming in and helping us last night, and really we'll be thanking him a lot. So here is a little moment with Mr. Eckert, and let me share that with you now. Thanks.
Pleasure.
So we're learning a lot about Burgundy and a lot about Jadot tonight, and we're starting off this evening with Chassagne Montrachet. And Kurt, this is we're actually tasting the 2018, so this gives us a chance to update everybody. We are in the 18 Chasson. When we talked to the winemaker, we thought we were getting 17, but 2020 got a hold of the 17 vintage and strangled it and turned it into an 18.
Not a bad thing. 2018 is a beautiful, beautiful vintage all around.
Yeah, it's a great vintage for Burgundy, right?
It's a spectacular vintage for Burgundy.
And it's not only delicious and lush and deep and dense like a great vintage will have, that power, the girth, the strength, and but it's also a generous vintage. You guys were able to make a good amount of wine.
Yeah. Well, when you talk to winemakers, their definition of a good vintage and our definition of a good vintage may not be the same thing. Their definition of a good vintage is a plentiful vintage because they want to have wine to sell. But it turns out that vintages that are plentiful very often, as in 2018, are also quite beautiful. So we have the best of both worlds, lots of wine and lots of great wine.
Now, Chasson et Montrachet, right next to Puligny, Montrachet, share the Grand Cru of Montrachet. Puligny is a little bit more famous because it's a little bit more abundant. Chasson is a little bit more scarce. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, they're both well known. They both share portions of the most famous white wine vineyard on this planet, which is Le Montrachet. So both villages added the Montrachet vineyard, the most famous vineyard, to their village name. So you have Puligny Montrachet, and then just south of it, you have Chasson Montrachet. Chasson has the distinction of producing a substantial amount of red wine as well as white. So it's thought of in a slightly different way than we think of Puligny. But the wine styles are also similar, but also distinct.
Yeah. And tonight with our first course, the Chasson will present itself. As we learned from talking to the winemaker, Chasson can be a little bit more reserved in the nose, but a little bit broader and deeper and denser than perhaps Puligny or its neighbor Meursault.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Chasson, you more immediately sense the presence on the palate, the sort of expansive and opulence on the palate, whereas in Puligny you're more apt to notice at the top the aromatic complexity. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of inverse of each other.
One person told me that Chasson is the introvert and Puligny is the extrovert. Is that a good way to think of it?
That can work, sure. Yeah.
We need those type of things with Burgundy, man.
We need everything we can find.
Well, I think everyone's going to enjoy this, and the good news is it just came into stock, and there's going to be a good supply. And these Chasson wines do improve with time in your cellar. But the great news about buying wines like this, you don't have to worry about them expiring anytime soon. So they drink now. Look how lovely it's going to drink, and then watch how it'll improve over the next decade, and really, add more and more value. So it's a wonderful opportunity to grab these wines, and quite honestly, they're very affordable in the category. And so we're very pleased to be presenting this beautiful Chasson with a chef's course. And we'll hear now from the chef a little bit about the food, and then we'll come back and talk to you guys about the Beaujolais. All right, so chef, we move now into the Beaujolais course, and we're open to questions or comments at any time. So I hope you really enjoyed that first course wine. I think the wine is quite showy, actually, Rachel. That 18, it's certainly got a long way to go to achieve its ultimate potential, but it's already got this wonderful roundness and creaminess, and I think Chasson is really one of my favorite Burgundies to cellar, because it does have so much potential and so many layers that it continues to release. Now this is the village one, and it's quite fantastic.
It's beautiful. I hope everyone's enjoying it.
Got a quick question. For the Chassagne Montrachet, did it undergo malolactic fermentation? Because it seems so smooth and so buttery in a way that, a lot of Chardonnays, even, especially from Burgundy, it tends to be a little bit sharper and more acidic. This is very rounded. Just wondering.
Do you want me to tackle that, Rachel?
Sure, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it did undergo malolactic.
Yeah, and barrel fermentation. The pieces that come into this wine are what really make it fantastic. And when we talk about making a good amount of wine, at Louis Jadot, they make a large amount of wine as a brand, with some of their main production wines bringing up like 90% of the production in wines like Beaujolais, Mancon, Pouilly-Fuissé. These wines, we're talking 2,500 cases of the 2018 that were made for the world. 2,500
Wow.
cases of Pouilly. So and there's just not that much Pouilly out there anyway. I mean, it's not a vast village appellation. But 2,500 cases are divided up. So we get and Jadot really does focus on the American market. So we get a lot of the effort and the reward of the wine. And luckily, California is a very significant part of the Jadot mix. And so we will get a good, we might get 50 cases of that wine for California. So if you like it, that's a great one to find. And I will say the price is quite strategic and sensitive, because a lot of Burgundy is over $100 a bottle very quickly. And this is still very affordable. So we now move into our Beaujolais course. And when you talk about the great things that Jadot has been involved in, there's been a renaissance in Beaujolais. And I got to tell you that, Beaujolais was really, really an important wine prior to kind of World War I, World War II, and into the early 1960s when Beaujolais Nouveau was invented. And Beaujolais Nouveau really kind of destroyed the reputation of the great single vineyards and the single clos. This is Gamay. It's grown in southern Burgundy, in the area known as Beaujolais, in a sub-region of Beaujolais known as Moulin-à-Vent. Now we're going to go into a little PowerPoint that I have for this wine as well. And then we'll talk to Kurt about this wine as well. And that's not the button. There we go. So this is our wine tonight, the 2017 Chateau de Jacques, and it is the village wine of Chateau de Jacques, which is in Moulin-à-Vent, if you see this up here in Beaujolais. And it's this spot right here, right next to Fleury and Chenas. And there's actually 10 little villages in Beaujolais, Bruy down here. And probably the most important, though, is Moulin-à-Vent, the windmill. And it's quite recognizable as an appellation, but the sommeliers found out about a decade ago that, hey, Burgundy's getting super expensive, and producers are really turning their efforts towards Beaujolais. And at Jadot, they've always made the Beaujolais like it's Burgundy. This is not exposed to carbonic maceration. Carbonic maceration is like basically a whole berry fermentation, and it's there to amplify the fruitiness. And that's why a wine like Beaujolais Nouveau can be made quickly and be very fruity, is because of the carbonic, which is done inside the berry. They capture the gases in the tank and they make this really fast and furious wine. No, they slow this wine down, and they keep it at the winery for a while, and they treat it very carefully. So this is not your, your college Beaujolais. This is the Beaujolais that is now really coming back to the forefront with great food and wine restaurants, which were absorbing most of the supply, and the great retailers getting behind it. Now look at this amazing vineyard. There's great old vines here. This is literally what it looks like. These hillsides, these colorful soils, they're rich in metal alloys. And that is why the Duke of Burgundy banished Pinot Noir from being grown in Beaujolais, because of the metal alloys. So they found Gamay that likes this type of soil, and that's what they planted in Beaujolais. Now, Chateau de Jacques became available, I believe it was in the 1990s, and the financial interests at Co-Brand and their interest in growing the category, they invested in Chateau de Jacques as part of the purchase of Jadot. They started to basically provide large amounts of capital to grow the brand and to grow its holdings. And Chateau de Jacques was absolutely a knockout treasure. It was one of the top chateaus already at that time, and they've done nothing but turn it up, 100 notches. Now, they do make single little old vine patches, and they have different names for different crus inside of the clos, inside of Chateau de Jacques. I said that backwards. The cru is Moulin Avant. They have different clos inside of the cru, and they bottle those individually too. Those wines approach $50 a bottle, while a wine like this approaches $30 a bottle, and the Beaujolais Village approaches 15 to 20. And then your average Beaujolais, which could be from anywhere in Beaujolais and is probably not from the better sites, is fighting hard down in the $10 to $12 range. So that's the spread. But when I look at this beautiful dark glass of wine, it's super perfumed and got this really nice raspberry and cherry and pomegranate type of red fruit. What do you smell, Rachel?
Yeah, I smell dark raspberries. It's very floral. I smell violets. It's so beautiful. The name Roche Grays comes from the soil type. So you'll find a lot of pink clay and granite there in this Cru of Beaujolais, hence the name Roche Gray. Well,
I hope you guys enjoy this Beaujolais. And Chef, you tell us about if you're okay, Chef, to chime in now about the salad that they've paired with it. And I'm sure people have devoured by now, but I would love to hear your piece on that. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Chef. I'm sorry.
I say so few people ate already the dessert. So for the salad, it's just some beets, lentil, asparagus, crispy potatoes. I'm not sure if the potatoes is still crispy. Sherry vinegar, some olive oils, fleur de sel, of course, and I forget what else. So a few things, but I think go very well with like for the fall. Some vegetables you want to eat, Did everybody appreciate it? Did everybody like it?
Hey, Chef, we live just behind you. We could go over and get it because we didn't get the salad.
You didn't get the salad? Seriously?
No, we didn't get it. No.
Uh-oh.
Man.
I can
literally
drive over there in 2 minutes.
You are literally a stone's throw away. I wanted to introduce the two of you anyway. This is David and Maria Kay, and they've traveled the world with me, tasting wine in Barolo and Napa and other places. David's in the entertainment business and the voice of John Oliver and the voice of many famous cartoon characters as well. And he, even with your concert tours, I love to spout your resume, David. You have one of the best resumes in the world.
No concert tours happening.
Yeah, but I did hear you on the NFL.
Yes, I do a lot of work for NFL. Yeah, but
That's awesome.
But more importantly, if you do, Chef, I'll drive over and get the blue cheese if you have any left. we were looking for it, but yeah, it's not here.
I think I do so fast for the pickup, and we have so many people come at the same time. So I try to do it very fast, put everything in the bag, and to go very fast. And I missed some bags. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry.
So it's all gone?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I know where those salads went, David. We had two salads at the end, and we're like, why are there two salads?
Yeah, it's the end of the two salads. I'm sorry.
It was delicious, though, David. I love. And I'm sorry you did not get that, buddy. We'll make it up to you.
Yeah.
So I believe everyone's consumed the salad, but does anybody have any comments they would like to make? Mary Grace, how are you? You're looking lovely. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
I'm doing good. Oh my God, everything has been phenomenal, and the pairings were unbelievable. And
Right.
I think I'm ahead of you because I already did the salmon, which is
Now, Mary is a vegetarian pescatarian. We adjusted her menu a little bit, and Chef, that was very nice of you.
excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
The salmon was incredible. The salad so far, I can't even wait because I'm going to get the shrimp next. So I don't know.
All right.
what
Yeah.
else to think.
She did not get duck, and she went shrimp. So that's where we parted ways with Mary's menu. But I hope you enjoy the wines as well, Mary.
Oh, the wines are phenomenal. I'm already going to do your gift bag tomorrow or tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for Chef or about the boat?
I have a comment for Chef Aimee. I'll tell you something. It must be a pain in the butt to cook every ingredient separately, because that's what the impression I get.
It is. It is pain in the butt.
I applaud you.
When you cook at home, and you need to clean everything after, and to prep everything, it's very different when you're in a restaurant. We have 10 people with you, and it's very different. But I really enjoy it to cook for tonight. It was very nice.
The joy is in the food. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, we when Rachel came to me with the idea of doing a Jadot dinner, Chef, this is true. I did not ask anybody else. I did not go anywhere else, and because we talked before the COVID thing happened, Chef actually saw my facility as I was moving in. We have a kitchen here, and we were going to do some private dinner events in my venue, which I've been paying excessive amount of rent for 9 months, and it's now.
It was like in March or something.
Yes, it was
February
right.
or March.
It was right at March before we shut down, and
when we were at?
yeah.
I don't think so.
It was March, and I used to have a loft over on Molino Street, and we sold that in February, and that was all planned. And then I was going to be able to get a retail store, and so this was part of the growth of our business, was to be able to do some retail. And this venue, though, was supposed to be a classroom, and not necessarily the website that we are now, which is more about delivery, but it's all good. And we all have now come on to Zoom, and this classroom allows people to be all over the city, and we get to deliver wine to your home. And I'm sure when COVID, ends, people will want to get together again. But I still want to do Zooms because I can do them more casually and get them all over the place. And you don't have to, drive 2 hours to see me in downtown LA, which is going to take a while to come back. It's going to take a while. My neighborhood's basically bombed out at this point. I mean, there's very little business left here. It's pretty sad. So,
how was the food, Kieran? How was the food?
I got you, Karen.
You'd think after doing 9 months of Zoom school, I'd be really good at this, but I'm not. I'm still horrible.
I do
Okay,
every week.
Wine helps. Everything is
And good food.
absolutely phenomenal.
Fantastic.
This was like such a treat in the middle of a week, you know, Wednesday hump day, to have such beautiful wine, and the food is so perfection. You know, in the time of Zoom, you know, where you're cooking more than you want to, and I want to pretend that I'm a chef. I am not a chef.
Yeah, Christoph, thank you.
At least we get to enjoy this. It's just excellent. Absolutely. I've moved on. Am I ahead of everyone? Sorry, I'm on the oxtail already. I'm sorry.
Oh, guys, go fast. Thank you.
It's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Absolutely delicious. It's a treat, real treat, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Well, we're gonna.
I just want to say the oxtail is the best I've eaten ever. It's just delicious.
You're my best friend ever. You're my best friend ever. Never forget it.
So, Chef, let's talk about the oxtail as we head into that, and then we'll talk about the wine on the backside.
So the sake to prep the oxtail, you know, I just marinate like for 24 hours in the Burgundy wine, and with some vegetables, everything like this. And after I cook it, put the bones away, you know, just keep the meat and make the mashed potatoes. Add just some truffle, some onions, cook with onions, and that's it. You know, nothing too much to talk about it. It's like classic French cuisine, you know.
It's also calorie free today. I don't know if you guys knew that.
It's not traditional.
Fat free Wednesday.
Yeah, every Zoom into wine event is a calorie free. Yeah.
There's no calorie. Fresh food is no calorie. It's no cream. It's no cream. It's no cream. No butter. Nothing. So don't worry.
Chef Amy, just had a question, you know, for the Parmentier. I noticed that there's a little bit of a crunchiness, like a farofo, if it were Brazilian cooking. What makes that crunchiness on top of the mashed potatoes?
It's just some breadcrumbs. I just put some breadcrumbs to give some crispiness of the mashed potatoes.
All right, thank you.
It's just that, you know, it's like I said, that also is very traditional. You put some crumbs, you put some butter, you put that in the oven, and you have these crispy things, you know. I grew up with these things.
That's cruel. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy.
I've been eating Christophe Beme's food for about 20 years. I've never had a meal that I wasn't ecstatic about. He has a touch far superior to any chef that I've tasted throughout the world. I just absolutely go ecstatic when I'm able to have his food. It's fabulous. And thank you for sharing it with me.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you.
Chef comes from my heart. Thank you.
Well, this was quite the added and unexpected bonus of working with Chef, is that he brought some wonderful friends to this event. So we're very thankful, and that you all joined us. But you know, anytime we can get the chef's food is going to be a special event. So, Chef, thank you again for doing this for us. And we're all, you know, I've never been more thankful for the little things, and it's just really great to be able to see everybody's face and smiling and hearing some positive comments.
What's the wine we are going to drink with oxtail?
Oh, our oxtail is with Pernod Vergelis, so we're going to talk about that now.
Kelly, that is for you, okay? Listen.
All right. So, Rachel, do you mind if I run with this one?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, here we go. So, when I worked with Jadot, I had a few favorite little wines that I would find, and this particular one is kind of a sleeper. Not a lot of people know about Pernod Vergelis because it is at the very bottom of Corton, the hill of Corton. And I'm clicking away here frantically trying to find where my PowerPoint went, so I'm going to try to bring that back up. Let's see. There we go. All right, it's ready to go. So let me show you. All right, so this is the wine, and it is a mouthful of a name. It is a domain of the house of Gage, the inheritors of Louis Jadot. It is Pernard Vergelis, that's the name of the village. It is called the Clos de la Croix de Pierre, and it is basically translated as the walled-in vineyard around the cross of Peter. So it's got this fantastic name. And then it's at the bottom of the hill of Courton. Now, you know, Courton is famous because this is where King Charlemagne's vineyard was. And King Charlemagne loved to drink his wine. And in fact, a little fun fact is that King Charlemagne liked to drink a lot of wine, and he had a white beard, and he would chug his red wine and the beard would stain red. So his wife insisted that that wasn't a very noble thing and convinced him to plant white wine on the top of Courton. So that's where Courton Charlemagne came from. Now at the base of the hill is Pernard Vergelis. And so it's kind of right on the soft spot. And it's got some beautiful vineyards around. It's just a really special spot, but it's not very well known, and it doesn't have a Grand Cru like Courton, but it does have, this is what's known as a monopole. Jadot owns the entire little Clos de la Croix de Pierre. And so it's a very special little wine that sells for the price of a village wine or less. And so I could go into a restaurant and look at the wine list and see some opportunities. And, you know, Burgundy all of a sudden on a restaurant list is $150 to $200 in a hurry, where this one could be less than $100 on a wine list. And it's just a really neat little wine. Now, we moved back into the 17 vintage with this wine, and I want to put this into context. 17 was challenging vintage. In fact, in our Beaujolais, I was really impressed with 17 because they had such a tremendous hail event in Beaujolais that it decimated the supply. Hail, especially in June when this event happened, just took away all the fruit. And so they had this small amount that they had to do this hyper selection on with the Beaujolais. Now the hail didn't make it up into this part of the vineyard of Burgundy, but it was a more treacherous vintage with different weather patterns and heat and lack of rain. And so supply on 17s is pretty small in general. Productions were really down, but they made some beautiful wines. And this wine always has this kind of ready to a drink, soft approach as well. So that's why it's another great thing. If you buy Courton today, 17 or 18, you try to drink a Courton, I dare you. It would be like putting an underripe piece of fruit in your mouth. It just would not give you any reward. Where this wine has some softness, some accent, some access, and really is a tremendous little value. And I love the little black truffle touch pairing with the oxtail and pulling forward a lot of that earth tone. And there is kind of a braised meat character in this wine, an umami character. And that's me talking about it. I'm gonna let Kurt talk about Courton for a moment. Or maybe I won't. Let me tell you that Kurt just disappeared here. Any questions about the Pernard Vergelis while I'm trying to find Kurt? You go back in. I think it's
what's the price, Ian? What on it?
Well, let's find out. Sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit tonight. This was a lot of work. Here we go. On a Merchant of Wine, to find the Burgundy, the real cool thing to do is just to go up to the corner for the search, that little Q, and hit Jadot. And you'll find all the wines that we have from Jadot on the website. So we're at $25 for the Chateau de Jacques Moulin au Vent. We're at $69 for the Chassagne Montrachet. And we're at $39.95 for the Pernod Vergellis. Now, I will tell you that I bought every case that there is in LA. They won't find it anywhere else. So that's also kind of cool. And I only have 3. So 3 6-packs, and they are in wood, which is also cool, as they are beautiful cases. And so we have the wood 6-packs of Pernod Vergellis at $39.95. And it is usually a $50 bottle of wine at retail. All right.
Great.
So let me see. I think Kurt's there. Can you see this PowerPoint now? Am I still sharing that?
We can't.
Is that not showing up?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Did you see the website with the pricing?
Nope.
Yes, I don't see you anymore.
Okay. So the website with the pricing didn't show up either?
Mm-mm.
Let's try that again then.
So, to go now.
There we go. So you hit that button right there, you hit Jadot, and all the Jadot wines show up. And so there's our Chassagne, there's our Moulin au Vent, the Gevrey that we're going to have tonight, and I have a couple others, little jewels that I picked up here. But here's the Pernod. And just by clicking on it, you'll be able to go in and grab as much as you like. Okay, now we go back into the to our PowerPoint, and actually back into our video, blue cheese, and I'm just going to forward it up. I have such great respect for it, but Beaujolais, you know, it used to be trying to get past the Beaujolais because we went through that already. Kurt.
17. 17 was challenging in many ways in Moulin au Vent, and it was a momentous vintage for Chateau de Jacques in that Jadot.
I'm going to pause right there, and I'm going to go forward until we get to our conversation of Pernod Vergellis. And again, if you want to watch this whole video with Kurt, he gives us a good amount of time talking about each of the wines. I'll provide the whole video to you on the gift bag. That like razor blades and just slices it all up.
Very, very good, because after the hailstorm, we had a very long, warm, sunny, dry growing season. Mm-hmm. And the fruit that did survive was beautiful. And the wines are quite elegant, quite pretty, quite complex, quite nuanced, not top heavy, not overripe in any sense, but just very, very pretty wines. Wines that drink well now and will drink well into the future. Just not enough of them.
And this hailstorm, was it pretty specific to Beaujolais?
It was specific to specific areas and vineyards within Beaujolais. So that's the rub, is that, you know, your vineyard may be decimated and your neighbor's vineyard across the road is fine. That's the crazy thing about Burgundy.
That is the crazy thing about Burgundy. And quite a selection process went into the 17. And I have a feeling to make this wine being, I don't know, they're all like children, right? But you do have to make one of them really important. And the wine of the Chateau probably got made by sacrificing the single vineyards and the single clos production sizes so they piece together a wine of the Chateau.
That's the most important ambassador for the winery. You know, the single vineyards, the more specific, specialized, tiny production things, those are nice. They're ornamental, but you live on your reputation as being a producer of Moulin à Vent.
And the press,
so that has
press,
to be-
the press has been very complimentary. You've got some great scores,
Oh yeah.
and I'm excited to see what people think about this wine.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut to the chef and have him talk about this next course, and then we'll move right into another amazing Burgundy. So let's get our chops on. And Rachel,
Here, I just thought I would let you guys speak, right?
with Perrigo Black Truffle. Okay, now we're
So,
talking
we'll
finally
see
about
how that
the
goes, but,
Bernard Vergelis. Are you okay to pronounce this wine? Because I stumble on it a little bit. It's a big mouthful.
Bernard Vergelis, I'm not sure if that's correct. I've been studying French. I've been taking French classes, so I realized that a lot of my pronunciation has been incorrect. So
I struggle with it, and people make fun of me all the time, but I don't mind. I love, trying to learn about the wines, be able to say them correctly.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So this
the key is being fearless.
Fearless.
True.
Claude
Kurt,
Lacroix.
how do you pronounce it, Kurt?
Pernan Vergeles.
Okay.
And then the wine here, the single cru the single vineyard is a Clos. It is a mouthful. It's Clos de la Croix de Pierre, which translates, if you like, literally to the walled vineyard next to the cross dedicated to St. Peter, which is a lot.
And I always thought a wine was such a great name, or such great in size, and such a relatively reasonable price was an interesting paradox. But I love putting this wine on wine lists, and I love the reaction when people try it. And this is a great value in Burgundy. It is a little pocket vineyard. It is considered a monopole, right? And it is also part of this is owned by the family of Louis Jadot. And so all that information is on the label, but just to kind of not very many people get to make a wine from Bernard Vergelis, and Jadot has definitely some of the better holdings there. And I've been in this spot. I stood and I saw there's a cross there not too far away, kind of a cool Gothic looking churchy cross right next to the vineyard. And what should we be paying attention to in the detail of this wine?
It's everything that you said. It's one of those great satellite wines in Burgundy, of which there are many that are nearby a more famous site, but but that typically over deliver, but can be found at a fraction of the price of its much more famous next door neighbor. So the next door neighbor here is the hill of Corton, which this vineyard looks directly into. And the hill of Corton, of course, is famous for its most famous Grand Cru white wine, Corton Charlemagne, and a series of Grand Cru red wines, which are the Corton circle or a half circle around the vineyard of Corton Charlemagne. So this vineyard is in Pernan Vergeles faces that. It's the same soil structure, but it's a slightly different exposition, a little bit cooler site, and it never achieves the same sort of grandeur that the Corton wines do, but it's not far off, and it's a fraction of the price.
And I think that this one always overachieves, and the chance to share this with everybody tonight on the menu, you'll be able to open this wine and impress your friends with a great Burgundy, something that's owned by Jadot, that's got a very good reputation, great resume of accolades throughout time, but is a fraction of the price of the Corton wine. And I think that it also kind of achieves an earlier drinkability too, because Cortons really are in lockdown for like a decade. So this wine lets you, it's charming, more elegant, more fresh, more tender. And I think that it's going to really accent the. And Chef, I'm looking forward to talking to you about how you think this is pairing with the oxtail course. Okay. All right. Chef.
Yep.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay, and you?
Okay. So when you get the oxtail, and if you wanted to make this at home, do you have to actually take the hide off the oxtail, or is it just already ready for you?
No, I need to do everything. I need to take the bones out, everything. So you need to cook with the bones, and after take the bones out, you know.
So you basically melt the meat off the bones?
Yeah. Take a long time. It's like that. You need to make sure that the meat is cooked enough to take one by one, take the meat away, and I call that, I'm sorry for my English, but the gelatin between the bones, you need to take that away also. And after, when you did that, after you cook the onions on the pan with some little bit duck fat, and after you put your meat again, and you cook it together, and to make sure, and you put the red one section with it, and you cook it again and again and again to make sure that all the meat are very shred, I think it's English, shred. And after you taste, and take a long time to do it.
Delicious course, and really I hope you guys enjoyed the pairing and a little pocket find. And that's really kind of the story, isn't it, Rachel, with Burgundy, is that there's a lot of little pocket spots that, there's some famous ones that people pay a lot of money to drink, and then there's the ability to find a few that are just really kind of a special little, teardrop size in production. I don't even know how much of this wine Jadot makes, but I think only a few, maybe a dozen cases make it to California a year.
Yeah, it's amazing that Jadot has ownership of this monopole, and for the price and the quality, it really over-delivers. So I hope you're enjoying it with the oxtail.
Now, we have enjoyed the oxtail, and we have enjoyed the Pinot. So we're going to move into the Gevrey Chambertin, and I'm just want to check in on everybody and see if anybody have any food left. Is it all gone? That's a good sign, I think.
Remains of the dessert.
Sue, how was yours? I got to meet Sue tonight for the first time that I can remember.
Actually, everything was wonderful, but I'm already beyond dessert. I mean, the oxtail was amazing. The duck was just to die for. So I finished it all, and the wine's gone as well. But everything was just wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you, Sue, and it was really nice to meet you in person for a second.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. We were the first in the line of Teslas, I guess.
That was not a joke. That was actually a line of Teslas. It was pretty funny.
We didn't even realize that they were Teslas,
Well, we move into the wine Gevrey Chambertin, which is, again, it's kind of fun. We get to bookend both of this dinner with the Chassagne, which is a village wine, and the Gevrey, which is a village wine. And they both have that same spirit about them, because Jadot owns little spots, and Jadot is an important landowner in Burgundy, and they own some really important vineyards in both these little villages. And this Gevrey is made and composed with that same spirit. This is the ambassador of Gevrey Chambertin, and yet Jadot probably owns the most important vineyard in Gevrey-Chambertin, besides the Grand Cru, Clos Saint-Jacques. Really a significant part of the village of Gevrey. And so everything that Jadot makes that is Gevrey-Chambertin is compared and held up to that standard. A fun story that I was told at Pierre-Henri's house is that back in the early 1900s, there, a couple Burgundy guys out there, and a guy named Georges Vogüé owned a very important vineyard in Moussigny, and Jadot had Clos Saint-Jacques and Gevrey-Chambertin. And so they would literally just trade barrels, 3 barrels of Clos Saint-Jacques for 3 barrels of Moussigny. Now, history has rewarded Vogüé because Moussigny is a Grand Cru with a significant $1,000 a bottle price tag on Moussigny. But that's how good Vogüé thought the Clos Saint-Jacques was, that they would just trade barrel for barrel. And everyone's always argued that Clos Saint-Jacques should be elevated in its stature to potentially another Grand Cru. In fact, I think if you ask everybody that loves Burgundy, what would be the very next vineyard that you would elevate in all of Burgundy, I bet Clos Saint-Jacques is the number one answer. And so we'll go into our little slideshow and just take a look at where that's at. And for a little village wine to get 93 points, and it's just such a good example of the wine. And Chef, I think it's a good time for you to tell us about the Confit, but let me just show people the village here. Maurice Saint-Denis, a nice neighborhood to the just to the south, and Gevrey. Here's the Grand Cru of Chambertin. And then when you make a wine from Gevrey, it could be from anywhere in the whole appellation. And probably a lot of, Bourgogne Rouge and Gevrey-Chambertin is made in the valley floor down by the highway, because this is the ascending hillside here. And it's always about 3/4 of the way up that you find the Grand Cru. And this is what the monks really focused on. And this very important Grand Cru, I've kind of made a little face there. This is a very important site in Gevrey-Chambertin, and it's really an important wine for Burgundy. And I think this particular 2017 is fantastic. Chef, tell us about the duck.
The duck. So festival, before I say, when I make this menu, I say I put the green cabbage and bacon, and I decide the last moment to put also some apple and celery, because I think it's nice to put some fruit, a bit fruit in this cabbage to feel like more juicy, because it was no sauce, nothing with the duck, so something like some fresh fruit was nice to eat with it. And to make this duck, I just it's very important actually to put the duck legs in the salt for like 6 hours. 6 hours. The duck I would do some bay leaves, some thyme, marinate for 6 hours, and after you clean it, and after you cook in duck fat. Many persons now cook the duck legs in a vacuum in a plastic bag and pray for 10-15 minutes, but it's not the same flavor. It's tender, but it's not the same flavor. So it's very important to put in the salt first, and after to cook it in the duck fat for a few hours very, very, very slowly. And I think, I don't know if people like it, but it's very soft and it's very good, it's very tasty. What do you think, guys? How was the duck?
That was really, really, really good. Just finished it with the Gevrey, and it's just what a great combination that was. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I had a quick question, Ian, about the Gevrey. Why is it that the Côte de Nuit or the Gevrey is a little more masculine than the Beaune? Is it the wood? Is it the soil? What is that?
Yeah, and Rachel, I welcome you to kick in, but it's definitely, an appellation of power, and it has more sunshine, more heat, and that more reward, more ripeness. So you get bigger, riper, thicker skinned grapes there too, because these vines have mutated and are almost channeling the energy that facet of Burgundy has, that exposure, that hillside, and those specific soils. So that's why the flavors are so very consistent in Gevrey, and you can expect that certain character. But other spots don't have the heat. Certainly the Pernod Vergelis at the bottom of the hill, gets what it can, and you can see how tender that wine was, and very drinkable, very light. Whereas this one has a little bit more power. And as you step into the Premier Cru, it's a step up in power too. But again, with Burgundy, you need to wait for Premier Cru and Grand Cru wines. It would be a waste of time to open up 2017 Grand Crus tonight. And we want to have a great dining experience. It's fun to taste them. A small little taste of a Grand Cru's not bad, but then you would understand why it's like not ready yet, and not the time. Now, Karen and Philip, you had a question or comment.
I was simply going to comment on the duck and tell.
Oh yes, please. We need more.
Absolutely fantastic, delicious, my friend.
Beautiful.
Philip, I'm trying to stop him from actually picking it up and eating it like fried chicken right now. So I apologize. I can't stop him.
It's wonderful.
I think you should. I think it's actually after you use the fork and knife to remove all the meat, it is.
Then I'll go off camera.
You can't. It is good. Zoom can do that.
Delicious. The pairing is perfect.
But I was also thinking of how unique of a experience this all is, to have an expert in wine, as you are, Ian, and explaining this all to us while we all sit in our own homes and kind of have a meal together with strangers for the most part. But it is actually lots of fun and wonderful. So thank you for arranging it.
Thank you. That's
Thanks, Philippe.
Yeah. I mean, it is different, right? It's not. It's a little bit like interactive TV.
Yeah.
I would love to, be able to pass, chef my glass of wine and be able to share, touch glasses and all that stuff. But
cheers.
Yeah, maybe Zoom version 2.0. We can, I can pour Sue. Just open your mouth, Sue. I can pour the wine in your mouth there.
Santé.
Yeah, santé. Lolly and Nancy, thank you for joining us tonight. Good to see your names on the dinner tonight. Hope you enjoyed. Alicia is on the Zoom, and Alicia works in our office, and it's very helpful at getting the coordination of the orders together. And we make the Zoom kits, our little bottles. I hope we're serving you well tonight. It's really fun. We send out Zoom kits every Wednesday and every Saturday. We have a different class or a different experience. This Saturday we're doing truffles and Barolo, and we have a truffle importer on the Zoom, Luca Lolly, and he's literally stressing out right now because the truffles are supposed to land tomorrow, and we'll get them and then we'll deliver them on Friday and Saturday. And literally Daniel Quinterno, that's the famous Quinterno. His father's Franco and his grandfather's Giacomo, and he makes all three wines. Now Giacomo's still in charge of the Giacomo Quinterno wine, but Daniele works for him on those wines. But Daniele makes his own, and then Franco, his dad, Daniele makes those. It's a really a tight little thing. Nebbiolo is amazing, and we're gonna have Daniele's best wine. And Daniele's gonna wake up at 3 a.m. and be live on the Zoom. So that's because he's only like 25 years old and he can do that. And he wants to be in LA, he wants to be here, and he's got crazy energy. So everybody that does that Zoom with us will get a little packet of pasta from Italy, some truffle butter, and a little cooking instruction. You'll make your own thing. And we send a little truffle shaver with the truffles. And that's what we're doing Saturday. And we're going to keep trying to create fun little gatherings. And Chef, we want to talk to you immediately about having you back and doing something else.
Nice. I would love it. I would love it.
I want to, especially in this time where, it's hard, you can't go out. We want to be, really good at this, and we want to, be able to deliver excellence and also value. Honestly, Chef, it'd be hard to get out and to eat a nice meal at your restaurant for the price that we can put it together on the Zoom. You have to work harder for it, and we all work harder to put it together. But there's a personalness that's where we lose not being able to see you in person. There's a kind of an extra touch that you're putting on the food, because you are the sous chef, you are the line cook, you are the.
I was everything.
Yeah. So it's really personal. It's really personal.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do a food to go, because you try to find the idea of a dish people can appreciate at home and easy to warm up for this Zoom. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not easy. It's something you can cook à la minute, something you're not, something you don't know the kitchen, so you really need to put that in the oven. So it's not the same. But I really love this experience. I really love it. We can do it again.
Well, thank you, and we'll have to double up on David's salad.
Sorry again. Sorry.
I'll just drop.
It's Jan's fault. It's not my fault. It's Jan.
That's right. So
we had 2 desserts, but our daughter has stolen one.
Yeah,
so
now we're sharing one.
One dessert.
Wow, you're generous.
I don't have a choice.
To a fault.
I saw her. She was very cute.
Yeah, she is. She is my dessert.
That's great. Terry, Kamali, how are you guys doing?
Oh my gosh, everything was so rich, but the wine kind of cut through the fat a lot. So it really made it so delicious. Everything was just perfect. So thank you to the chef, such wonderful food. And it translated very well to be traveled, like you said. So you put a lot of thought into that, which is very helpful for us. We just had to warm it up a little bit. The skin was so crispy, it's so delicious. Everything was fantastic. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, we're open to ideas. If you have something you think we should do. In fact, the truffle idea came from one of our best clients, and he introduced me to his truffle connection. So we're going to have him on the Zoom on Saturday. And then we are working on some other treasured experiences. I'd love to share with you just what we have going on. And Chef, if your wife wants to say hi, I'm sure we'd love to say hi to her too.
She would have to, but the problem, she hurt her back 2 days ago.
Oh no!
For a few minutes, but she's very painful with her back. She's really can move. You know what I mean? She tried to help me for the Zoom, but man, yesterday the massage therapist was here at home for 2 hours working on her back. She's really. I'm sorry for this.
Oh,
she wanted to be joined, but she's really painful.
I'm sad to hear that. That's the worst.
Yeah.
But we will all we'll maybe see her next time and
for sure next time. But I'm sorry again for this.
Well, we all understand. So this is our little landing page for Zoom into Wine, and here's our upcoming calendar. Next week, my friend Matthew Kainer, fantastic wine dude and all around great guy, and a hell of a musician, by the way. He's going to be on the Zoom with us, and we're going to talk him into singing a song or playing a song for us. He's also the educational ambassador for Wines of Germany, and Matthew makes wine in Santa Barbara called AM/FM. So we're going to have a little German Pinot and a little Santa Barbara Pinot with Matthew, and we're going to learn a lot and talk a lot, listen to a little music. Then we've got a fun experience with Rioja. I'm going to be providing some Spanish ham, and we're going to do a little blind tasting of some awesome Rioja, from the very inexpensive to the super expensive version. And I'm going to serve them all blind, and we're going to kind of explore these and see which ones we like. But six Rioja, all blind with some Spanish ham. The ham's optional, but we're going to make it really good. And that's going to be a lot of fun as we head into the holiday season, where I do this kind of trifecta of events with champagne. Ruinart, Krug, and Comte de Champagne. And if you are into champagne like I am, you can actually join all three with a single click. It's called the Champagne Series. You'll get a bottle of each, and if you do the math on the price of those wines, it's a heck of a great deal. Getting a full bottle of Krug, a full bottle of Comte de Champagne, and a full bottle of Ruinart. So, and it's the right time of the year to be able to drink those wines and to not have any hesitation as we close out one of the more difficult chapters in our lives, 2020. I wanted to go out with a bang, and we head into a wonderful month of January events, in which we're still putting together. But we've got a lot of very interesting things that we're working on, and we got a long way to go before we get there. But we're inventing every day around here. I've got a fun little team. We all work remotely. Lisa comes in for an hour or two, does her job, does stuff from home. We have Gabby on the phones. She's here for a little bit. Matthew comes in for a little bit. We've got a couple of graphic designers. One lives now in Minneapolis, and then our other graphic designers in San Francisco. So we're on Zoom calls every day with them and planning and building. And we hope to continue to do some really fun activities, and there's no limits now. So we want to hear from you. If you have any ideas, bring them, because there's nothing we can't do. And if everyone just will be a little patient with us as those Teslas line up, we'll get them out. And Chef, next time I have a better idea. We'll do each meal in one bag at a time, and not try to figure out who's two and who's three and all that stuff.
Thank you.
One per bag. It'll make it easy. I think it works for Chick-fil-A. It'll work for us.
Well, let's do one with Loire Valley wine, like from where I come from, like Saumur, like like Chinon, all these things. It's very good.
Hell yes!
Very good wine.
Some great Sancerre, some great Chinon, some some different levels of sweetness.
Lovely wine, and very accessible.
Yeah.
Could I make a suggestion for Chef M.A., if that's the case?
Yeah.
You know what? Since the Loire River Valley also has apparently caviar, why don't we have a menu degustation with caviar, pairing it with the different Loire Valley wines?
That will be an experience.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
And also one more question. For the dessert, there's nothing paired. Would banyuls work, or maybe like a port, or maybe a jerez?
What's for you?
Tony, I did not take the dessert, Chef. I don't eat dessert, so I didn't take one. What is
exactly? Was the bottom is I make the chestnut cream. I make that last night actually. The chestnut cream with crème pâtissière, with chestnut and pâte de marron, pâte de châtaigne if you want, with some crème anglaise also. And in the middle, I put some chestnut cream at the bottom. After I put chocolate mousse, mandarine, and chocolate mousse, fresh segment of mandarine.
I like your idea with banyuls being an opportunity, but banyuls might be a little heavy.
Okay. So what might be good?
I think. What do you think, Chef, about a wine like Bonnezo? Would that work for you? This particular one?
Bonnezo can be good. Yeah, Bonnezo can be very good with it,
And that's
too sweet, so it can be good with it. What do you think, Rachel?
I would think like a sec or a demi-sec champagne.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because it's a creamy, rich dish, right? With a lot of different layers of texture. And not enough people play around with
you have also a touch of chocolate also. You have some chocolate, 67% of chocolate. So you have some chocolate also with it, you know.
So we gotta think about the. So you could probably approach it either from the sweet white with a sec or demi-sec champagne, or maybe Banyuls, but maybe also we could leave France and go over and taste something from either Madeira or from Portugal with like a tawny port. Tawny port might play well into that chestnut and that little, cue off that chocolate. Approach it from a couple different angles. But I do love my dessert wine. I teach a lot of classes on wine, cheese, and chocolate. And we're going to be really focusing in on some killer Sauterne, some other great wines. And we'll have a lot of different visitors. Almost every Wednesday, we have a different winery, or we're doing a winemaker dinner. The winery tonight being Jadot. So that's our focus. It's Winery Wednesdays, and then Saturday is kind of anything goes. So come and see us again. And Chef, we're gonna get another date on the calendar as soon as you're ready. In fact, we could talk right after this Zoom about the next date.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that soon. Seriously, let's do that soon. Let's do that in January.
All right. We'll hit January. You pick a Wednesday or a Saturday in January, and we're gonna make that work. And we'll announce it to everybody here.
I had to get rid of that.
Ian, I want to ask you a question. Is Matthew Kaner the son of Paul Kaner, the attorney?
Well, you're gonna have to tune in next week and ask him that, because I don't know. That may be true.
Is he from Beverly Hills?
Do you know that, Rachel? I don't know.
I don't know if he's from Beverly Hills.
I don't think so. I feel like I know when I met Matthew, he was working at Silver Lake Wine.
No, it's not the same person.
Not the same one.
And I have another question. Do you focus only on French wines, or do you do Italian wines as well?
Oh, well, Saturday with Barolo is definitely Italian, and I'm a glutton. I like to eat the entire world. So, we'll go from Spain to Portugal to France to California. I love my Mexican wines. We just had a couple Mexican wineries on a Zoom, and I try to find wines though that are maybe either exceptional value or truly like a little off the radar, and I stay away from wines that are heavily stacked at the grocery store. I appreciate what Jadot does with Beaujolais Village, and it creates a wine that everybody can afford. But then you get into the Cruz of Beaujolais, and they make very little of them. So there's these little kind of corners and gems that you can find that pass on really good value, and that's what I'm looking for, especially at this time. And that's what we sell a lot of. But we do have we did one thing that I never thought I would do. When I got started, I wanted to have 100 wines. That's all I wanted to have in my store, and I really wanted to just keep it 100 so I could buy more and focus on fewer things. But then this all happened, and you can't do 50 plus Zooms a week or a year with only 100 wines. And so now, last week we passed 500 wines. We have 500 wines in our little wine store.
Wow!
So it's pretty adventurous. But there's probably 25,000 more I would like to be able to buy. Just need a space big enough to do that, and maybe we'll get there someday. But we're enjoying the pursuit, and we love the positivity. And we thank you guys for being here tonight, and look forward to seeing you all again. Look for an email from us. It might go to your promotions folder. It will get to you after this Zoom is over, and I will send you the PowerPoint and also some nice discount for the wines that are on the Zoom tonight. They'll all be available with a special discount. And I can't say it on the Zoom because this is broadcast on Facebook and other places. But if you do want to get more involved in our Zooms, all you got to do is sign up and watch the Zoom for free, and you still get the discount code. So join us. And if you really want to join us, we have a membership to our Zooms that includes a free Coravin. And if you Coravin your bottles, I drink just a little bit of my Beaujolais tonight, and I'll have it for months to come. So the Coravins are a really fun way to do it with us, and we can deliver full bottles to your house for the Zooms. All right. Anybody want to talk about anything else? Otherwise, our Zoom is over, and we want to thank you. Have a great night. But we're going to stick around, just kind of shoot the shit. Maybe we'll even discover the date that Chef and I can land on for the Loire Valley dinner.
That would be fantastic.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Chef, thank you for a wonderful dinner. It was delicious.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef.
Merci, Yann. Merci.
Merci, Chef.
Salut, salut.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Chef, do you have a calendar handy? You want to talk dates?
I'm free. I'm busy on the 16th for sure. Saturday 16, but we can do the week before, the week after.
How about the 27th?
That's good. That's good. 1 month before is good for me.
That fits.
27 was the day too. So it was the day of 27.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, we will call it the Loire Valley dinner, and I've already got some fantastic wines, and
Do you have some Bonzo?
we will make sure we have some.
I love it.
Okay, because it's special to you, and I know you'll do something amazing with it. And I have some really good ones, and we'll get together. We'll taste.
Merci, merci, Yann.
Thank you, Chef.
Thanks. Bye
Oh,
bye.
I feel better.
Thanks.
I know. Alicia, thank you. Thanks, Lolly, Nancy. Thank you, Sue. Bye, Kelly.
Kelly.
Everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Alicia. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Merci beaucoup. Salut, Yann.
Au revoir.
Salut.
Ciao.